This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
Hundreds of abducted schoolboys remain missing in Nigeria amid government efforts to rescue them. The construction of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention headquarters is launched in Ethiopia's Addis Ababa. And we get the latest on Brexit deal negotiations. Hello, welcome to Africa Live. As always, great to have you with us. I'm Richard Nta, live in Nairobi. And for those of you joining us from across the continent and around the globe, we thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at other stories making headlines this hour. The perils of cycling along Kenyan roads. We take a look at measures to enhance the safety of riders. And artists from across Africa showcase their unique work. Physical and virtual exhibition taking place in South Africa. Once again, welcome to Africa Live. So good to have you with us. I'm Richard Nta. We begin in Nigeria, where more than 300 boys are still missing after gunmen abducted them from their boarding school in Katsina State in the northern part of the country. Security forces have continued to search in the nearby forest area to try and locate them. Students who narrowly escaped the raid have been speaking about their ordeal. Tuli Shabalala has that story.
Usamo Aminu had gone to bed when he heard sporadic gunshots in the school premises. Gunmen were executing a raid in the all-boys school.
They say the gunmen were already in the school. We even climbed the school fence, but they even asked us to return back. We thought they were soldiers who were trying to protect us, but unfortunately, they were not soldiers.
Aminu says he escaped after a knife was brandished, allegedly with the intent of killing him.
I ran into the crowd. They couldn't get me. Then I put my clothes upside down so that they could not see me. From there, they said they would kill whoever is trying to escape. Then I began to run, climbing one rock to another through a forest.
Hundreds of boys are still missing, and security forces are combing a forest area outside of the town of Kankara to try and find them. Their parents have been anxiously waiting for some positive news.
Our last prayer is to see that our children are back. That is the only prayer. That prayer that we are doing. We are sleepless. Even this night, wallahi, we stood up. We stood up praying to God to bring our children back.
There is growing anger with the precarious security situation in Nigeria. Armed bandits often carry out attacks throughout the northwestern part of the country, often stealing or kidnapping civilians and holding them for ransom. So far, the gunmen have not made any demands. Tuli Shabalala, CGTN.
Philly Haza has been following these developments from Nigeria's administrative capital, Abuja. Phil, thank you for joining us here on Africa Live. We appreciate you keeping a close eye on this story. Phil, what's the latest on the abductions in Katsina?
Well, thank you, Richard. So at the moment, we know that the military is saying that they have cordoned off the area where they believe these abductors have the children kept. They are also saying that they're going to ensure that every one of them are brought back safely. We also know that parents of these children have been protesting in Katsina State. They're demanding for the immediate release, a safe release this time of these children. And the reason is clearly because this is not the first time that the nation will be awoken to this kind of news. It happened in 2014 involving over 200 schoolgirls, and up till now some of them are still missing. So that's the reason for the fears and concerns by these parents. They're grieving and also insisting that they're updated periodically on the progress of the whereabouts of their children.
Well, Phil, I guess the question that needs to be asked is about clarity. Clarity on the underlying motives behind these latest mass kidnappings in Nigeria.
Well, in terms of clarity, it's been over 48 hours since these children were declared missing, and it is safe to say that the motives behind this attack will definitely be towards kidnapping them for ransom. Because if you look at the history of Katsina State, especially in the course of the year, Amnesty International says kidnappers have killed more than 1,000 people, all in demand for ransom. So those that couldn't pay, and even some that could pay, the kidnappers still went ahead to kill them. So you're looking at a state or a region, the northwestern region, that has been, facing huge insecurity challenges, especially towards banditry and kidnapping in the course of the year, even a couple of years back. So it's safe to say actually that this particular attack is also with regards to kidnapping, and even if the government have said they will not negotiate with terrorists, they will not negotiate with the kidnappers, and that's the reason for the military assault on that area. A lot of security analysts, we've spoken to a couple of them during the weekend till now, they say that the fact that the time is ticking, it's over 48 hours, there's concerns that some of these people might have even escaped through the border, because Katsina State borders Niger, that's another country, and once that happens, the search could widen. It could be very difficult to find all of them, that's to get all the numbers that are missing, which is about over 300 according to the state governor. It will be difficult to get all of them intact, and that's why parents are insisting and hoping that the government does its best to cordon off the area and ensure that no one gets outside of the state or even the area that the military says they've cordoned off.
Phil Haza speaking to us from Abuja. Phil, we appreciate that update and report. Thank you so much. Let's turn our attention to Somalia now, where Al-Shabaab has lost scores of fighters in a recent U.S. aerial attack south of Mogadishu. The two drones targeted explosive makers in Jalib, a key militant stronghold in southern Somalia. CGTN's Abdulaziz Bello has more from Mogadishu.
In a rare move, the U.S. Africa Command, one of several unified combatant commands of the United States military, has released a drone footage showing the impact of two airstrikes last week in southern Somalia. U.S. Army says these strikes in Jalib killed 8 explosive experts known to play a role in producing improvised explosives for the militant group with the intent to cause massive civilian casualties. The agricultural town in the Middle Juba region has for years remained critical to the group's operations. It serves as a training base for jihadists and foreign fighters, with top commanders believed to hide in that area. Thursday's aerial strikes are the first since Washington announced plans to pull out U.S. troops from the country. More than 700 American personnel are operating in Somalia, assisting Somali forces and the African Union troops in the fight against insurgent groups. These elite troops are from Danab, mentored by the U.S. government in counter-terrorism operations. In recent months, they've dislodged Al-Shabaab from a string of towns and villages in the Lower Shabelle region, the epicenter of the conflict in southern Somalia. The pullout by U.S. forces is now expected to impact their operations. Somali officials have warned against any hasty pullout, insisting that the army is not yet ready to go it alone.
The Somali National Army forces must be fully capable, equipped, and critically enabled in order to meet the requirement for a successful transition. To realize this objective, the Somali security forces must have the necessary lethal weapon and effective non-lethal equipment to clear and hold a strategic location.
Since 2017, American drones have increased their targets against Al-Shabaab's leadership and fighters, allowing Somali forces and AMISOM to make significant inroads into key Al-Shabaab strongholds. The military campaign backed by U.S. aerial firepower has denied Al-Shabaab the ability to mount major attacks across the country. And in the run-up to the presidential vote next year, Mogadishu has been urged to increase its campaign against the Al-Qaeda offshoot. In recent weeks, the group has stepped up its campaigns to disrupt the crucial vote with roadside bombs, targeting security officials, and suicide attacks in public gatherings. The attacks are believed to be part of the group's efforts to disrupt the electoral process. Abdul Aziz Bilon, CGTN, Mogadishu, Somalia.
In Ethiopia, the construction of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention headquarters has been launched in Addis Ababa. The project is part of a commitment that China made to Africa 2 years ago during the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation in Beijing. Government officials from Ethiopia and China were present at the event, as well as officials of the African Union. The Africa CDC headquarters is another landmark project aided by the government of the People's Republic of China. The headquarters will be equipped to handle disease control, prevention, and surveillance programs in Africa. It will enhance the capacity of the health sector in Africa in efforts to attain the Sustainable Development Goals and the AU's Agenda 2063. Well, this is a significant development in China-Africa cooperation. For more on the groundbreaking of the China-Africa Disease Control Center, let's go live to Addis Ababa, where Gerum Chala is standing by. Gerum, welcome to Africa Live. Great to have you with us, as always. How would you describe this major event, and who is in attendance, Gerum?
Richard, this is significant. It's remarkable. It's also one of the historic projects that the African Union has launched in this continent to serve a continental purpose. After a historic event held here, the Africa Centers for Disease Control headquarters is now taking shape in the very place that I am in now. The Chinese government has kept its promises, as you've said earlier. President Xi Jinping has been talking about it so many times before, and now today is the day, the historic time that Africa is going to have a bankable project when it comes to preventing disease and also controlling them through its headquarters, which is going to be located in the Ethiopian capital of Addis Ababa. So this is really significant. It's a very good news in this coming new year for the population of Africa, Richard. So everyone here, including the mayor of Addis Ababa, the health minister of Ethiopia, the mission head of the China to the African Union headquarters, everyone was here, and they were saying that this is indeed a game changer project, and exciting too.
Well, significant and remarkable indeed. I can feel the excitement in your voice, Gerum. But what are some of the key background details behind this particular project?
So, Richard, this Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention headquarters is going to house, more significantly, laboratories. Its main aim, as you might understand, is to try to understand some of the harshest disease in this continent, be it like Ebola, the COVID-19, and others. And the capacity is important for Africa to defeat any disease that's going to be outbreaking in this continent. So this project is going to house state-of-the-art laboratories, residential buildings, and office complex at the same time. By the way, it's going to have 2 phases of construction, and the whole project is expected to be completed in 2 years' time. $200 million is allocated by the Chinese government, and experts have already arrived here. Designing has been completed. As you can see behind me, the project itself is beautiful and expected to be, apart from its major purposes, going to be a landmark location for Addis Ababa city as well. So it's mainly going to be the most important laboratory location and research center, and also other purposes, not only for Africa, but also contributing for the global health security, Richard.
Well, Gerum, you spoke about fighting disease. Could you elaborate how other countries in Africa can directly benefit from this project?
So let me take you back a little bit. In 2015, when the Ebola outbreak came to the continent, some of us were in Liberia, Guinea, Sierra Leone, looking at how countries were struggling to perhaps defeat the outbreak, and also even today, the COVID-19. But the African Union has taken lots of lessons from the Ebola outbreak in the Western Africa region by formulating what is known as the Africa Centers for Disease Control. Today, Africa is different because it can take lab tests on its own. Today, almost all of the African states, 54 of them, have the capacity to test COVID-19. And most of them have also that potential for Ebola as well. So the Africa Centers for Disease Control headquarters is going to directly benefit African states. It's going to be center of excellence. It's going to be a place where most of the research are going to be done, and also a place where so many African problems when it comes to the health sector are going to get answers. So it is really a great news for Africa, Richard.
All right, Gerum Chala, let's leave it there for now. Thank you for your insight and analysis. That's Gerum Chala speaking to us live from Addis Ababa. All right, time now for a short break. Here's what's still ahead. We get the latest on Brexit deal negotiations and a look at the perils of cycling along Kenyan roads, as well as measures to enhance the safety of riders.
How will your world change today? What happens here? What happens there? Or what you make happen for yourself? If it matters to you, it matters to us too. Your stories are the stories that need to be told. Africa Live. Find your voice.
Welcome back to Africa Live. We appreciate your company. The European Union's Brexit negotiator, Michael Barnier, has expressed confidence that sealing a new trade deal with Britain was still possible. The negotiators are seeking to break stalemates on access to UK fishing waters and corporate economic fair play rules. A senior Brussels negotiator who sought to speak on anonymity said they remain at odds over state and aid provisions and fisheries. Britain and the EU have pledged to try to reach a trade agreement. This despite missing the latest deadline to avert a turbulent split in trading ties at the end of this month.
We've needed at least 5 years for all the previous agreements. We're going to give every chance to this agreement. It's our responsibility, which is still possible. A good, balanced agreement that means two conditions which aren't filled yet. Free and fair competition, fair and free, the two go together. And an agreement which guarantees reciprocal access to the markets and waters. And it's on these points that we haven't found the right balance with the British. So we keep working.
And to shed more light on the Brexit deal, let's now join our correspondent Tony Waterman live from Brussels. Tony Waterman, thank you for joining us here on Africa Live. There has been some renewed optimism about a Brexit deal. What more can you tell us about this, Tony?
Yeah, there certainly is. Last week it was pretty doom and gloom with both sides saying that a no-deal scenario was the most likely outcome. But now a new week and a new set of feelings, apparently. Michel Barnier, the EU's chief negotiator, briefed the 27 EU ambassadors this morning on the state of these negotiations and reportedly said that there could be a deal in the coming days, but there still needs to be work done on, of course, the level playing field and also the issue of fisheries. The level playing field is seen as the thorniest of all of the outstanding issues at this point because it's something that affects all 27 countries. It's access to the single market, and fisheries is just affecting mostly the coastal countries. But on the level playing field, the EU has made it quite clear from the beginning that it is more than willing to give the UK access, quota-free, tariff-free access to its single markets, the largest in the world, 450 million people, but it wants to be able to ensure that there is fair competition. It doesn't want to see these divergences when it comes to standards, giving UK businesses an unfair competitive advantage. What it wants to do originally was to unilaterally be able to impose tariffs if there were these, if fair competition was jeopardized. But there seems to be a compromise emerging, which would put an independent arbitrator in place, or perhaps a dialogue between the UK before it takes that unilateral action. Michel Barnier tweeting in just the last couple of minutes here, saying that the next few days are important if a deal is going to be in place by January 1st. Of course, this is when the transition period ends. Also saying that fair competition and a sustainable solution for fishermen and women is the key to reaching this deal. So these talks are continuing. They've been going nearly around the clock for weeks now, trying to get a deal before the end of the year.
All right. Before we let you go, from your perspective, how do you think these issues will be resolved going forward?
Well, besides the level playing field, the fishing issue is really the outstanding one. What EU fishermen want is continued access to the very lucrative UK fishing waters. They've been hunting in these waters for generations, some of them. They want to have some certainty going forward. But of course, the rallying cry of Brexit, part of it was to reclaim UK waters for UK fishermen. So we're going to have to see where the compromise is there. But again, this is an issue that mostly affects the coastal countries. So you can think of France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and they are perhaps digging in their heels. But it is the level playing field which is seen as unlocking the rest of this deal. The other outstanding issue is around governance, which is the policing of this deal. But something has to be done in the next couple of days, because the EU Parliament is going to have to ratify this. The UK Parliament will have to as well, and time is just really running short. Parliament is meeting this week, and they had hoped to look at this deal at this point, but they may have to call an emergency session for the end of the year, right after Christmas, to try and get this deal through if one presents itself.
All right, let's leave it there. Tony Waterman speaking to us live from Brussels. We appreciate your insights. Let's turn our attention to Niger. 30 candidates are vying to succeed President Mahamadou Issoufou, who is coming to the end of his second term. The official campaign period was launched last weekend ahead of the December 27th presidential elections. More details with CGTN's Joy Karuki.
Amadou Issoufou Saidou is among the 30 candidates in contention for Niger's presidency. He is an independent candidate aged 49. In the past 1 week, Amadou Issoufou has been touring the regions, towns, villages and hamlets of Niger to woo voters. Amadou has focused campaign on social cohesion, justice, the fight against corruption, the revival of the economy and job creation.
I will fight against impunity so that there is a good social climate in our country. I'm convinced that if this is done, then all the other problems can be resolved more easily. Jobs will be filled by the most deserving. That is how the economy of our country will be moved forward.
60-year-old Bazoum Mohamed is the candidate of the ruling party. He began his election campaign in Niamey, then headed to Maradi, his hometown. Being the designated successor of outgoing President Mahamadou Issoufou, Mohamed is considered by many observers as the favorite in the upcoming election. A former Minister of Interior and Foreign Affairs, Mohamed is banking on his 30 years of collaboration with the outgoing president to convince voters.
I have traveled through almost all the regions of Niger, and I know all the needs of the people. I know your needs. It is with your support that we will develop the Maradi region and the whole of Niger.
On 13th November 2020, the Constitutional Court rejected the candidacy of 11 aspirants, including opposition leader Hama Amadou. The opposition leaders have now formed a coalition through which they hope to defeat the ruling party candidate. Joy Kiruki Juma, CGTN.
Egypt recently adopted a comprehensive strategy to control its high population growth, which places huge pressures on the country's resources and budget. Yasser Hakim now takes a closer look at the effects of high population growth and the government's efforts to contain them.
The rate of population growth in Egypt is 1.8%, which is 4 or 5 times more than average international rates. The population growth eats out any development, and so people don't feel the fruits of economic growth. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has continuously warned of the dangers of overpopulation.
The two biggest dangers in the history of Egypt are terrorism and population growth. I have placed it on the same footing as the people who kill us because population growth prevents any efforts for reforms. It will remain a challenge. Population growth is a challenge. Help us to eradicate it. 1 or 2 children is enough. Give yourself a chance for a good life.
Egypt's first population awareness campaign was in 1965. 5 decades later, it is still unable to reduce the rate of newborns to international levels.
Our problem is being inconsistent. From 1986 to 96, we implemented one of the most successful campaigns worldwide. Then we stopped for years. Later, we discovered the rates of the newborns has picked up again. It's an awareness war, a war on misconceptions. To change this mentality, we need constant awareness campaigns and always talking with those people non-stop.
The government announced a new plan to fight population growth in 2021. It will depend on collective efforts from the Ministries of Health, Education, Economy, Culture and Youth.
For the first time, government will provide all contraceptives around the country free of charge. There will be an extensive media campaign reaching out to all segments of the society, and more important is to empower women. When a woman is educated, she will be more aware and will be ambitious to achieve things in life rather than sit at home and have 5 children.
The government has also allocated a budget to help young women establish small projects to become more sustainable and independent economically. Officials are targeting fertility rates to drop from 3.7 children per family to 2.5 by 2030. Yasser Hakim for CGTN, Cairo.
Here in Kenya, as the country grappled with the pandemic, outdoor activities such as cycling and running gained popularity. In Nairobi, a group of cycling enthusiasts came together to bond over weekend cycling trips. However, this has also served to highlight the danger that awaits on roads that are shared with motorists.
The morning chill still lingers when a group of men, women and children in colorful gear assemble to warm up in a parking lot. They gather under the collective banner of the Spin King riders, keen on honing their cycling prowess. Though the group was founded in May, it had been years in the making. When Bernard Asin started cycling, it was a means to visit his girlfriend, but on the way, he discovered a new love.
I stole my brother's bike to go and see my ex-girlfriend. That is how I started cycling. I did 5 kilometers, I was tired, but I had to push myself to 10 kilometers, and that's how I fell in love with cycling.
In May, as the COVID-19 pandemic slowed down normal activity, Asin co-founded Spin Kings, which trains beginners and also organizes rides for elite and semi-elite cyclists for free. All a participant needs is a well-serviced bicycle and time.
I sat down and I saw how can I give back to the community, because guys were undergoing the pandemic, the stress of the pandemic and all that. So we saw bicycle is the quickest way of releasing pressure and all that.
9-year-old Dalia Kanya is one of the youngest riders in the group.
Me and my father and my sister, we were like, let's start riding. So we started riding around the estate. And then after that, my father got me a road bike for my 9th birthday. I was very shocked. And then after that, I started going to very far places. Then we joined this Pink Kings group and it started becoming even more safer to ride.
They ride in formation. Children are flanked by elite riders, and motorcycle riders create a barrier between the riders and other road users. It is a partnership born out of necessity. In recent weeks, several cyclists and motorcyclists have died on the roads. Samburu West Member of Parliament Naisula Lesuda has sought to address this by introducing an amendment bill. She says, and I quote, "If passed by Parliament and subsequently assented by the President, the legislative amendment proposal will ensure cycling, walking lanes and all infrastructure that aid in attaining sustainable road transport systems in Kenya are in place and prioritized."
Road safety is all of us. We show up on our roads in very different ways. Today I'm a biker, tomorrow I'm a cyclist. This morning I was a pedestrian. Later in the afternoon, I'm going to be a driver. So I show up on these roads in these different forms, and my life matters. Every life matters.
Their message shared on this last ride of the year, riders covered 56 kilometers, and then they took a break as they planned to ride together into a new year. Wilkis Anyabwa, CGTN.
Well, here's a reminder of our top stories. We begin in Nigeria, where more than 300 boys are still missing after gunmen abducted them from their boarding school in Katsina State in the northern part of the country. Security forces have continued to search in nearby forests and adjacent areas to try and locate them. Students who narrowly escaped the raid have been speaking about their ordeal. And in Ethiopia, the construction of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention headquarters has been launched in Addis Ababa. The project is part of a commitment that China made to Africa 2 years ago during the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation in Beijing. Government officials from Ethiopia and China were present at the event, as well as officials of the African Union. And the European Union Brexit negotiator Michael Barnier has expressed confidence that sealing a new trade deal with Britain was still possible. The negotiators are seeking to break stalemates on access to UK fishing waters and corporate economic fair play rules. Britain and the EU have pledged to try to reach a trade agreement before the end of this month's deadline. And that is a look at some of the top stories we've been following. Time now for the very latest in business. Here's a look at what's ahead. Well, how one man in Rwanda is reaping huge economic benefits after ditching a white-collar job and taking up chili farming.
There's more to this place than just glorious landscapes. There's more to it than just, say, Table Mountain or glorious, endless salt flats. There's more to it than countries that are home to some of the deepest mines in the world. There is so much more to this place, even if it is home to some of the finest diamonds on the planet. It is the sheer diversity of the people who call Southern Africa home and the relentless drive to make it a better place that make it so special. And we know that because this too is home. No one knows Southern Africa like we do. CGTN, see the difference.
My family has been doing this artwork for the past 600 years.
My dream is to be a leading player in Africa in spice sector.
Nobody in the region consumes it. Even me cannot afford the vanilla cooking.
What we've created here is the elegance, the color, the celebration of life.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
Welcome back to Africa Live. Diego Twahira was an urban professional, but in 2014 he left his white-collar job to venture into chili farming. From habaneros to African bird-eye chili, he produces everything. Currently, he is one of the largest chili exporters in Rwanda. He produces more than 50,000 tons of chili worth $100 million every year, which is sold to markets in Asia, Europe, and the U.S. Let's take a look at this story.
In Rwanda or in Africa, their family, they have the routine. We have to go to school, graduate, find a white-collar job. From the white-collar job, we have to get married. So for me, because I broke the routine, no one could understand what I was doing, lifting the white-collar job, sitting in the village, start farming. When I started this business, and I didn't get support from my family or from anywhere, whoever. Yeah, but with time, they came to see that I made the right choice, and they started to support and to encourage. Muraho. My name is dandicut, known as Diego. I'm a chili farmer from Rwanda. When we started the farming in end of 2013, I had only one permanent employee and myself. We sat on small land. Now currently we have 30 employees permanent, and we have about 200 casual laborers. We plant different varieties of chili. We have habanero chili, African bird-eye chili, and hybrid chili, specifically teja and dandicut. Yeah, Rwanda has competitive advantage in producing chili because we can produce the whole year round because of our climates, and where other different parts of the world like Asia or Europe, they have seasons. But for us, we can grow all year round. For us, we consider ourselves as commercial farmers because we produce and also we buy from other farmers. We do aggregation, and also we do value addition on the chili. We have the fresh chili, we have dry chili, we have chili oil, we have chili sauce, we have chili paste. We make sure whoever wants the chili gets from us, and we try to make sure we have all the varieties needed on the market.
Nitwa Jean Baptiste Nzabamwita, hakaba hashize imyaka 5 mpinga icyo gihingwa. Kikaba kimfite umumaro cyane kuko kimpa amafaranga nishyurira abanyeshuri, amafaranga yo kubaka inzu yo kubamo, amafaranga yo kugura déplacement. Hanyuma n'abakozi nabo dukoresha amafaranga tubahemba nayo akabagira akamaro kuko dukoresha abakozi bagera mu 100. Ayo mafaranga tubaha nabo bashobora kwishyurira nerivare z'abanyeshuri, bakagura amatungo yabo ayo borora, nabo bagashobora kwiteza imbere mu ngo zabo, ku buryo usanga iki gihingwa gitufitiye akamaro cyane inahangaha.
Here we are in the eastern province of Rwanda, in Kayonza district, where we went to see one of our farmers supplying our factory. They really grow habanero chili. This variety, it takes about 3 months and a half to harvest, 40 days in nursery, and only 2 months and a half they have started already to collect the ripened one. As you can see this stage, they will start to harvest like in 1 week because it's weekly picking. When you see like this one, it's ready, about to be picked. It's ready. So, and they will pick the red one, and after also 1 week they will come. They can harvest this variety up to whole 1 year. Let me show the habanero how it looks like inside. It's too hot. Huh? See, if you eat it like this directly, it can burn your tongue. It's too strong, too spicy. Welcome to our factory. Let me take you around. When we receive our chili from the farm, we put them in the cold room, and then from the cold room, we start now to go to the sorting process, where they will check the quality. Then from the quality inspection and sorting, we go to the cleaning, and then we start the process of the processing of our chili and other different products. Let me take you inside the factory. The first step inside the factory is cleaning. After cleaning, then we go to the crushing process, where we crush our chili to be used for different products, as like chili oil, chili sauce, chili paste. Let me show you how we make our Rwandan famous chili oil. We have to crush chili, which we mix with different ingredients like garlic, onion, ginger, and then we mix and cook. After cooking, we separate the ingredient with the oil, and then we start the process of the filling. Then the next step will be labeling and sealing. It was my dream to have my own brand, and starting the first batch exported, I think the value was exported was 5,710, I remember, and the feedback was like, it's really nice, really different of all the products we are used to. So that was very good, and it gave me a really encouragement. So I think that was more excitement to see people taking your product, and someone take the picture from Netherlands, like that's your chili on the table. You know, my dream was when I started to be the leading spice player in the country, and now my dream is to be the leading player in Africa in spice sector.
The news continues on Africa Live. We will see you on the other side of the break with more news stories. Here's a peek at what's coming up. Artists from Africa showcase their work in a unique physical and virtual exhibition in South Africa.
The greatest journeys, the greatest sights, the greatest adventures.
Here in Kanata, this weir allows the locals to walk on water.
We're far more than just TV news. We're your passport to the wonders of Africa.
To bring you stories of struggle, survival, and hope.
So let's explore. CGTN. See the difference.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
Welcome back. While most art fairs and large exhibitions have been postponed or replaced by online presentations due to the impact of COVID-19, the Melrose Gallery, in association with Sandton City in Johannesburg, are presenting an exhibition both physically and virtually. The thought-provoking group exhibition features established and emerging artists from Africa. CGTN's Ulysses Jamela went to the exhibition and filed this report.
The exhibition takes place in a large 850 square meter space in Sandton City's Diamond Walk. This space provides the perfect backdrop for the display of a comprehensive Pan-African contemporary art. And the high ceilings allow for monumental sculptures and large-scale paintings and photographs. We asked the curator why they chose to exhibit in a mall, an unusual undertaking in South Africa's art industry.
Because art forever has been challenging what we define as display, what we define as art. forever. So the fact that we're presenting here, it's to actually go against the grain and to, more importantly, expose contemporary African art to African audiences, because in Africa, we don't have a culture that people go and visit galleries. Whereas in Europe and in the US and even in China and Asia, they've already got that culture of visiting.
Many artists have been forced into long periods of self-isolation in their studios as a result of the COVID-19 related restrictions and lockdown period. Rusike says this isolation has resulted in powerful artworks impacted by their focus, mood, and awakened sense of consciousness and enlightenment.
So the exhibition title is called Introspection, Art of Contemporary Africa. And essentially what it's about essentially taking what happened during COVID and lockdown and pondering on it, but more importantly, actually articulating the experience, but also the effect that it's going to have on us, but not on us, but on the art industry as well. And I think that art is the most profound way of expressing a language, but also expressing oneself. So the exhibition is about coming to the space and actually introspecting on yourself, but also introspecting on the moment that we're currently in. Because a moment like this has never happened in history, or a history that my parents or their parents have lived through.
I'm very grateful to be a part of this exhibition, because in Africa, it's a lot of artists. And if I check here, it's not a lot of sculpture, it's just paintings and drawings. So for my side, I'm very grateful to see my artwork in this place like this, whereby a lot of people going up and down, walking around. Even if some, they're not coming in because of the COVID-19, but most of them, they see work through the window, and yeah, I very appreciate about that.
Some artworks here were not created during lockdown period, but have found space in the exhibition as their works and practice speak to the theme, introspection. Yudisa Njamela for CGTN in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Have you ever had a thought of living on a tree? Well, 39-year-old Nixon Koimer of Kenya's Uasin Gishu County has built a tree house to blend with nature. And as CGTN's Nick Mondima now reports, it's his passion for environmental conservation that made him build his unique abode. Let's take a look.
Uasin Gishu County, 300 kilometers from Kenya's capital, Nairobi. Here we meet Nixon Koimul, who decided to live on top of a tree and coexist with the ecosystem.
This is the room.
Rastaman, or the tree man as he is known in his locality, welcomes us to one of the houses. All wooden structures put together on top of a tree.
Sit comfortably.
The graduate with a bachelor's degree in education ditched the blackboard and chalk and took a different route, and the society thought he was going mad.
These trees had very firm foundation on the ground. They were trees that had historical connection since they've lived for over centuries. I looked also at the formation of the tree. It had strong branches that were strong enough that so many people could even be up on it without breaking. So I felt, here is an idea. If 2 or more people can be up there without breaking it, why don't we create a space where all of us can occasionally visit and enjoy the view.
He leads us inside one of the houses. The stairs all wooden. The ambience is also out of this world.
So this is actually one of the tree houses he made, and this one is specifically a bedroom. He lifted up a car on top of a tree and converted it. And of course, with me here is a sink with the fresh water, and actually has a very good drainage. Behind me, it's actually a bedroom with a bed that fits very well. He's made so far 4 tree houses that have become tourist attraction, and that gave birth to the amusement park, where now he's actually aiming to improve this place to become one of the most sought after tourist attraction destinations in Uasin Gishu County here in Kenya.
Downstairs, there's a toilet and hot water shower, pure bliss of creativity and drive. One gets amazed with a collection of fascinating interior, all made from wooden art. Manifestation and celebration of nature is his quest, and blending nature with humankind has been refreshing to him. He has also made a cave house for his guests. Here, everything is wooden and self-contained. The ceiling's finishing is done from leftover branches, and the aesthetic look is so inviting.
And out of those that is wastes in terms of usual industry, I'm able to create such pieces of work on things that would otherwise have been used as firewood or would not have any value.
Celebrating their praises indeed, and now he has set up a tree museum.
This journey is what pushed me to set up a museum where these intrinsic or these collections with deeper symbolism. I collect these collections, put them together, and in my own interpretation, share with fellow men to interpret it also in their own versions.
From the aerial view at his favorite balcony, he lives peacefully with bees and has also improved his space by making a madman pond that he looks for to put fish and start sport fishing as part of the amusement park. According to Koimuri, he also wants to include a zip line, a courtesy of the landscape at his disposal. A brief peep at his car's interior, I was surprised. He has changed the steering wheel, it's now wooden. Well, he's indeed the tree man in love with wood. Nick Mudimba, CGTN, Uasin Gishu County, Kenya.
Another remarkable story from Nick Mudima there. That's just incredible. Well, we are not done just yet. We've got your sports news coming up after the break. Here's a peek at that headline. Olympic 400 meters champion Wade van Niekerk eyes a new record at the 2021 Olympic Games.
How would you create your legend? On the fields, on the tracks, in the arenas of Africa. Were you born to be a player? Could this moment be yours? Sports Scene. Find your game.
You're watching breaking news on CGTN.
Welcome to the world today on CGTN.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
Welcome into